Hello guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Again, my name is Allison and I'm here to teach you another piece of pottery that we're gonna do today. So this mug is super cute. The idea behind it is daisy affirmations. Daily affirmations, a great way to kind of boost your mood and everything. It's really cute. Daisy affirmations is kind of a play on words there, but you get little daisies on this side, and then on this side you get a little affirmation for yourself, or a little pick-me-up for your morning coffee or your morning tea or anything like that. But it's a nice little cute start to get your day going, and it's really awesome, and it's especially special because you made it. Let's get started. Alright, so for this project you will need these colors here. You will need color 85, 31, 57, 48, 49, 7, 98, and 3. And for your supplies, you're going to need a paint palette or a paper plate or just anything to put your paint on, some skinny brushes or little detail brushes, a big surface brush, my favorite is the fan brush, a washable marker, not a Sharpie. You want to make sure it's washable, just any Crayola marker will do, but permanent marker doesn't burn off quite like the washable marker does. But then you will need a toothbrush, an old toothbrush. You don't want to use the one that you're using, obviously. But this is an old toothbrush that we have, and this is great for that kind of like speckled look that you see in the background of this. You don't necessarily need the toothbrush, however doing that is much easier to do with the toothbrush. So first I am going to go ahead, like I said, I have all my colors and everything here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this mug. First I am going to go ahead and paint the inside, number 98, and I will be right back. Alright, so here is my blank and unpainted mug here. I just wanted to pop in and just show you guys how I like to do big surface areas and paint the big surface areas, since most of this mug will be just little details and using little brushes. So my favorite brush to use is the fan brush. I know a lot of people are intimidated by this brush or just don't really gravitate towards it when they're painting pottery for the first time or first few times, and that's just because it looks a little different. It doesn't look like the squared off brushes that we use for acrylic usually or anything like that, but this brush is my favorite for picking up color and distributing it nice and easy on the piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip my brush first into water. You want to do this because you'll find that the bisque or the pottery absorbs the first coat of paint especially, but the paint like a sponge. So just getting your brush wet and just kind of loosening up your paint for the first coat is great, so it doesn't dry too fast, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and usually when I paint the bottom of a mug or the inside of a mug, I'll do a little like swirl on the inside. Then I'll take my brush and kind of go at it like an upwards motion. So that way I have a nice clean like lip too. I don't have to worry about getting this edge super straight or anything if you just do it kind of in that upward motion, just like that. Where the brush ends, it really just does it for you, so you don't have to worry about getting that all nice and even. But say you do make an oopsie, obviously we're on this one, we're gonna make the rim polka dots with black, so it doesn't necessarily matter, but if you are a perfectionist as your project goes along and you make an oopsie like that, what you can do is you can take a sponge, just a regular kitchen sponge will do, or we have sponges here in the studio or for sale on our online website if you need one. But just take a damp sponge. You don't want it soaking, but you don't want it dry, and you can literally just wipe it off just like that. It's super easy. Unlike acrylic, where if it sticks somewhere, it's there for the rest of its life, the pottery glazes really just wipes off super easy. So and with these paints, I highly recommend putting 3 coats or layers of paint on everything. The reason is if you do one coat like I just did, it looks like it's covered and everything, but after fire, you will see the brush streaks and strokes of what I did, and it will be super light. But if you do 3 layers of paint, so you do it once, let it dry, another on top and another on top. If you do those 3 layers, the color will be nice and solid on the inside, and you won't see any brush streaks or strokes like that. It'll just be a nice solid color. So I'm going to paint the other 2 coats on the inside of this mug, and then we will move on to sketching out our little daisies. Alright, so I just painted my 2nd and 3rd coat of paint on the inside of this mug, and as you can see, it's still shiny. So what that means is that it's still wet, and it's not ready for another coat. Obviously, I just did my 3rd coat, so I won't be putting another coat on there, but I just wanted to show you guys what that looks like when your paint is wet and it's not yet ready for another coat of paint. Your paint is ready for another layer when it's no longer shiny like that, when you can't see any sheen when you put it in the light. But moving on, my pen palette got really messy here, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab a new one here for some details. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab this marker, and I'm just gonna go ahead and sketch out that design that's over here on the mug that's finished. Now, this is done freehand, so if it doesn't look exactly like that, like, don't be hard on yourself. Obviously, it's done freehand. This is meant for you to create a piece of art that you like, and this is meant for you to do it how you like. So every day when you wake up and you get some coffee or tea or whatever you like to drink in the morning, that you smile and you know that you did this yourself. So don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't look exactly like this. I know mine won't. But we're just gonna go ahead and just sketch it out here with this marker. And this marker will burn off in a kiln. So if you make some mistakes or you don't like how something looks, this is just just for an idea. Once you paint it on there, that will be what it is, but the marker will burn off. The kiln gets too hot for the marker to survive in it. So if you make a mistake, everything that you don't like will burn off. So I did my little vase guy there, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just do my daisies really quick. I'm just gonna go for it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, this is just an idea. This is just a little sketch, just so you know, just so you have a game plan, really. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish sketching this out, and I will be right back and we'll get started on painting. Alright, so this is what my little rough sketch looks like. So just an idea. It's not meant to be perfect or anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab color number 85 here, and I am going to paint in the little vase guy. And again, highly recommend putting 3 coats or layers of paint on everything you do. But I just wanted to tell you guys a couple tips and tricks about how I like to do details on these pottery pieces. So if you have shaky hands like I do, and you kind of go for it, with your brush like this, you can get a little shaky. So a great way to stop your hand from shaking, to get those nice crisp edges, is to rest. What I do is I rest my pinky on the piece, but you can rest your hand on the piece, your pinky on the piece, anything, but get yourself some stabilization when you go to paint this. Get your hand nice and stable, and it's a lot easier. And then also, instead of moving your hand and your brush like this, a great way to do it is stabilize your hand, and then think about it like you're moving your wrist and you're not moving your hand. And that gives you a nice straight line, like right there. So just think about it like you're moving your wrist, and go ahead and stabilize your hand. It's a little hard to do details coming up from straight up like this. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and paint the 3 coats of this vase on, and then I will be back and we're gonna do some flowers. Alright, so I did my 3 coats of that base, and the reason I did the 3 coats right away is because we're going to be layering some colors on top of that blue, so I just wanted it to be as dry as it can be before we do that. So now I'm going to move on to the flowers. I'm going to grab color number 3 for the daisies, and I'm going to grab color number 7 for those littler flowers that are in there. Alright, so the easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is to load up your brush. Start from the outside and work your way in. So we're just going to start from there, work our way in. And see how we did that, and it gives just a nice natural curved line, versus if we tried to come at it the other way, we'd have to try to make that curved line. But if we just start from the outside and work our way in, it just does that for us. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in all of these daisies here. And again, you'll want to do 3 coats of this. And don't worry too much about how it looks. We're gonna be adding a bunch of more other stuff, and we're also going to be outlining it. So if you're not sure about how it looks now, just trust the process. But that's for those daisies. And then I'm gonna move on just to show you how I do the little flowers. So you can do your little flowers kind of like these little ones here if you prefer that kind of really little flower. I think I want my other flowers to be just a little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna do the same thing, and I'm just gonna work from the outside in just to make those really pretty flowers. If you wanted to do the baby flowers, you can just take your brush and just kind of like dot your brush at it and not really do much of a swiping, but more of a dotting motion like that, and it'll come out those little flowers. It's all just personal preference. But I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 coat of paint on all of my flowers, and I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll finish with our other coats. Alright, so I just wanted to quick show you guys what 1 coat of my flowers look like. Again, this is only 1 coat, so I will be doing 2 more coats on top of this. But I just wanted to take a quick pause and do the little stems there. So I am going to be taking my color number 48 for the stems. And I'm also going to be taking color number 49. Just a little bit. Alright. So how we did this is we did 48 on the bottom and then 49 on top for accents. So I'm just going to take 48, and it's just a line here. But I'm actually going to stop here at the vase, and we'll continue that color later with number 49. So for now, again, I'm stopping at the vase, and later we'll put more color inside the vase. But I'm just doing my little stems, and they don't necessarily need to go and touch the flower and all of that. They can just stop kind of right at the flower and you'll get the picture. So again, doing my little stems, stopping at the base. And then for the little leaves, I know mine are in a little different places than this, but I want to do the top half of my leaves in number 48, and I'll do the bottom half in the number 49. But so I'm going to do my 3 coats on the flowers, the stems, and all of the leaves, and I'll be back. Okay, so I did my 3 coats on all of the flowers and all of the tops of the leaves in the light green. And now we're going to go in and we're going to work with some of that dark green and just do some of that accent. So I'm going to take my tiniest brush that I have, some of that dark green, and I'm just going to draw a line straight on top of that light green. And then I'm just going to go onto the underside of the leaves and do that underside. So again, just drawing a line straight on top of the light green, and then doing the underside of the leaves. You don't need to worry about where the light's coming from or any of that, because it'll just look cool with whatever you do. But I'll finish that, and then I'm also going to take my color number 57, and I am going to do the inside of the flowers. I am just gonna do 3 coats, but I did my flowers first, so now I kind of have really an idea. But again, just stabilize your hand. Just paint the inside of the daisies. And then for the little flowers, I have a trick here. If you take the back of your brush and dip it in your paint, you can create little polka dots. So for the little flowers, I'm just gonna dip the back of my brush and just do a little bit of yellow, just like that. Just like that. And then you won't need 3 coats of that, just because it's quite thick right there. So but I'm going to paint the insides of the flowers. I'm going to finish with the dark green details, and then we will work on some more of the bigger details. Alright, so I did the inside of the flowers, and now I'm just going to do some more details here. So I am going to take my color number 98 that we had before. I'm going to take the back of a brush. I am going to dip it in the paint, and I'm just going to make little polka dots on the little daisies here. Just how you like, however many polka dots you want. I think the little accent looks really cute. But yeah, and like I said, you only nearly need 1 coat of those little dots there, because they're a little thicker than just brush strokes. But I'm going to take my dark green here, and I'm going to extend those stems into the vase. So I'm just going to follow the line, and I'm just going to make it up where it goes. And you only really need 1 coat of this, just because it's going to be, I mean, you want one nice thick good coat. You don't necessarily want to do it super light. You want it nice and thick and shiny like that. But you just really kind of need 1 coat of this. So, but again, I'm just making it up as I go where I want these little flowers to be, where I want their stems to go. They don't all need to go to the very bottom or anything. Just do it how you want it. Just think about where the stems would go if they were in a vase. So kind of like that. But now I am going to take some black, and we are going to outline all of our flowers and our vase and all the details. So I'm going to pour some black onto my palette. Move my messy palette over here again. I'm going to grab my tiny brush. And since black is such a dark and potent color, you really only need 1 coat of the black for the daisies. So I'm just going to take my brush. Again, stabilize your hand and think about moving your wrist. And just outline. Outline the vase. How I'm going to outline these flowers is I'm kind of going to do the same thing that I was doing before, where I'm actually going to start at this top and work my way in. The reason is, if I do the inside and work my way out, is I might get stuck with big globs of black on the inside, and we don't necessarily want that. We want to be able to see each individual petal. So I'm starting on the outside and working my way in as my brush runs out of black, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and outline the flowers, the little flowers, the leaves, and the vase. I'm gonna leave the little stems alone, but I will be back once I'm done outlining all of that. Alright guys, we are on our final details and final steps. I just went ahead and outlined all the flowers and everything that I talked about. So the flowers are pretty much all finished. I also added some black dots inside of the flowers like there are on this mug. But yeah, so we are going to flip our mug over and we are going to now start on our words. I'm just gonna do the choose you again on this one, but if you have an affirmation or just something positive that you'd like to see every morning, then obviously you can write that instead. But I'm just gonna do the choose you like the example is. And if you are painting in studio and you are not confident in your handwriting, you can always ask one of the staff to print out what you would like written, and then you can actually trace that on. So like this one, I'm just freehanding it because I think it looks a little bit better when you freehand. But yeah, so that's just a rough idea. Again, all of this marker will burn off, but I just wanted a little rough idea before I go in with my brush and I kind of really go for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a detail brush, grab my number 31 black, and I am just going to write choose you with my brush. But yeah, using the marker is super helpful. It helps you space out your letters and how you want them and everything. But I am going to put 2 coats of black on the letters because the outline is 1 coat, because we know that the black is super potent, I guess, really dark. And so I'm just gonna do 2 coats because I feel like we won't really need a 3rd. But yeah, I'm just gonna do my letters and then I will be back. Alright, so I did my letters here. I just did them kind of like that one. They look a little different, obviously, because you can't make 2 things look the same. But like I said, if you wanted to trace this on, we do have special carbon paper, special transfer paper here at the studio that will help you trace on some lettering, and you can just go over that. Otherwise, the staff is always willing to help you with lettering or anything like that. But honestly, in my opinion, I think just your handwriting would make this piece pop, and it will make it a little just that much more special. So we are going to be doing the last few details. We have 2 details left. We're going to be doing the top little polka dot rim here, and then we're going to be doing some splatter paint. So to do the top little polka dots, I'm going to grab some more black here, and then I'm going to take my little skinny washable marker that I was using earlier. If you don't have one of these, or if your marker is a bigger marker, maybe like this one, and you want a little dot, you can also use a new pencil eraser. Otherwise, you can use the back of your brush. It's just the back of your brush is a little too small for this. But if you run out of options, you can always just use that. But I'm going to take the back of my marker, dip it, and you see how it makes nice even polka dots. So I'm just going to take my marker, I'm going to dab off some of the excess. I'm going to roll it so that way it makes a little polka dot on each side. So I'm going to, again, dip into the paint, and then set it next, kind of roll it so you get that polka dot on both sides, and lift up, and just stamp all the way around your piece. Just like that. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I will be back to do our final step. Alright, so I went through and I did all of my little dots. Again, just take the back of your marker, stamp it on there, and then kind of roll it this way and that way, and then you'll get those little scallop little details super easy, so you don't have to go over and paint each one and, you know, stress about that. So it's super easy. But now we're gonna be doing some splatter. So I'm gonna set my mug aside here, and I'm just gonna teach you a couple ways to do that. I'm gonna grab my messy palette again and some black. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. If you don't have an old toothbrush at home, you can always take your brush and you can dip it in your paint. Holding your finger still, you can just tap your brush and there's some splatter. That gives you kind of like a thicker splatter, which I may do some of both here when I go to splatter the mug. But that gives you kind of a thicker splatter and everything and a little less controlled. I like the toothbrush because it's a little more controlled and you kind of have a good idea where it's going to go, versus the brush, you don't know if you're going to get a thick dot or a really thin dot, you know. So I'm going to take my brush, just get it in my paint, just get it at the top. You don't need to get it super soaking all the way through. It's actually best if you just try to keep your paint on the top of your brush. But then I'm going to grab my mug. Whenever I do splatter, I always want to hold it up like this and splatter, and then it will go on the mug on the side. I don't want to go like this and splatter down, because if globs of paint get on your toothbrush, it's gonna drip down and you're just gonna get a massive glob of paint onto your piece, which is not good. So I like to hold my piece upright at a vertical angle like this. But then you just take your thumb and you just run your thumb along the toothbrush, just like this. So I'll show you on my table paper here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. But it gives a nice little fine splatter. So I'm just gonna take that, and this is going literally all over the entire piece, so don't be scared. It's even going on the inside. And if you want a more chunky splatter and less of a fine splatter, you can get your toothbrush closer to your piece, and that will get more of that chunky splatter like you do with the brush. But I'm gonna splatter inside. See how I had that real big chunk? You can't see that. There's a big chunk of paint that just fell down off of my brush. So we don't want that in our cup, unless we want it, obviously. But for this one, I don't think so. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep splattering. I'm gonna set my piece down now so I can do the handle. And ta-da! There, now that your hands are dirty, your table's dirty, your arm is even dirty with splatter, you know you're done. But this is what our piece looks like all finished. Super cool, super cute. I'm excited. But yeah, so this is what it will look like before and after. It's really cool how the kiln gets those colors and makes them nice and vibrant and everything. But yeah, so that concludes our little Choose You mug, our little Daisy Affirmations mug. If you guys have any questions on how we did anything or anything, just let us know down in the comments below. And then I will be posting our website down in the description box below, so you can order either this piece or another mug to do this on, whatever you like. But you can order online and pick up in store. Otherwise, you can just come on in studio, and we're walking, so just come on and have a seat. But you guys have a good rest of your day, and I hope your mug turned out awesome.